I had the great pleasure of being invited to Logically's second event, LogicCon, in Columbus, Ohio, the week of the 15th of October, 2024. Logically is a managed service provider, but a very large one. I've also had the great pleasure of being acquired. I was the first MSP to be acquired by Logically. So I feel like I'm really part of the community still, a part of the family still. But I went on site. They had a great event. I set up the podcast booth. I had a lot of great conversations with the staff of Logically, with some vendors that were there, and some other people. It was a great time. I'm humbled and thankful that I got the opportunity to do that. The following is one of the conversations at this great event. I want to thank Logically for letting me do this. I had a great time. Thanks for listening.
Hi, I'm Joey Pinz, and here's my 45-second introduction. After starting my business in the 90s, I started developing poor habits of eating in my diet because of working way too much. Before you know it, I found myself 340 pounds. The doctor told me if I don't lose the weight, I'm not going to see my daughter graduate. Took the next 7 months, lost 130 pounds. People think there's some secret. Ask me, how'd you lose that weight? Like there's some secret. There is no secret. How'd I lose the weight? Just one word, discipline. I've had other successes in life, and I attribute them all to discipline. Now, I'm not the king of discipline, but I believe that it can help all of us. Friends, colleagues convinced me to start a podcast. The podcast mission? How do we better ourselves and society? I talk to interesting people in health, fitness, sport, wellness, business, technology, science, art, and culture. And I eventually ask them how discipline plays a role in their life. Podcast vision, growth through learning from others.
What is it about golf that you love?
I'm a relentless perfectionist. So I love the process of it.
You're right-handed?
Yeah, I am.
And you carry a number?
Yes.
And?
It's a 16 from the whites.
From the whites.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
My husband always tells me I should play from the ladies' tees. I'm like, no, I like playing from the whites.
It's unfair, that whole thing, isn't it?
And they're the forward tees now, by the way.
That's right. They're not the whites, they're forward tees. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. And when you're up at night and you think about a shot in golf, what shot is it? Which club, which shot that excites you the most?
That 175-yard shot.
175. And what are you hitting? What iron are you hitting? Or maybe it's a
It's a 4 hybrid, probably.
4 hybrid. And you draw, you fade. What do you do with the ball with the right-hander?
Depends.
Interesting. You could shape it.
No.
Oh.
It depends on who shows up to hit the ball.
In your mind, your intention.
My intention is to drive.
Is to draw it every time.
Yes.
Ah.
But I'm a fader.
So then why are you intending to draw?
Because you get more distance and
You
roll.
do. You do.
So but I've been working on like getting that that shoulder through, and then you can kind of.
Look at you. Yes. Look at you. Wow.
I'm a student.
Yes, you are. How long have you been playing?
Oh, most of my life. But I played tennis competitively.
Ah.
I've done everything. I've skied competitively. I've run competitively.
Really?
Yeah.
When you say you've done your tennis competitively, like in tournaments?
Oh, yeah.
Do you have a number there as well?
Well, I don't play. I really don't play anymore. But I played all the way through college.
I see.
So, yes. So,
two-handed, forehand, backhand?
Two-handed backhand.
Two-handed backhand, and single hand, one hand forward. Yeah, yeah. I get to play a lot now. I love tennis, but I love golf as well. It's interesting how you fade everything, but in your mind you try to draw it. Mm-hmm. Do you ever, when you in your mind, are you going high, medium, low? Are you pulling back on it?
High. I'm
always high.
Yeah.
Ah.
So, but I've been working on that shot. Like the drive into the wind.
Right.
Where you can kind of keep.
Sure, especially in Jersey, you can get some. Yeah. Kind of a punch.
Yes.
Yeah, put it back in your stance a little bit. Yeah.
Tee it down a little bit.
Yeah. Do you get to play a lot?
Every weekend I play.
Good for you.
Right when I'm home.
But
we're entering into the sad time.
Yes. You Northerners are. Yeah,
yes.
I'm down in Tampa now, so I get to play. So my parents met in Queens, and they moved me out to the suburbs. So yeah. No California time for me, but yeah, I'm a Northeast guy. But the parallels of golf and running a business, there's a lot, isn't there?
Oh yes, it's all about the process. It is, and I joke about the abject self-loathing that golf brings to you, but it really is. But it's also like when you hit that shot.
Yeah, makes it all worth it.
I can do it.
Yeah.
Right, and I think that's life and business and running a business, which is it's really the process of refinement, of improvement, of looking at and I watch a lot of golf. Like we will go
Do
play
you?
golf and then we'll come and watch golf.
Wow.
And you'll watch these people and they naturally fade the ball too.
Yes.
And there are certain courses that favor one over the other.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so, it's also realizing you have to do you. And I was reading this just the other day in Golf Digest, which is all these people are trying to like hit the ball like Nelly Korda or like Roy McIlroy.
Sure.
And it's like, and they're like, everyone has their own unique swing. And so everyone has their own unique way of going about business and growing their businesses. And while it's good to like read about best practices and foundational elements of what you do,
Sure.
you have to be who you are.
Yeah. Yeah, I've resigned to the fact, Kirsten, that I am a puncher. I can get on the greens more. I add a club and I don't swing as hard. I shorten the swing. And sure, I'm hitting more iron than many are, but it doesn't really matter. The whole macho thing is I want to get on greens in regulation. I want to get on that green as quick as possible and make less putts. Yeah, and yeah, especially men, they want to hit it. It's all about the drive. I'm on the range. I see these guys at their drivers. Go, chip some ball. You talk about your 175 shot. My favorite shot is like 60 and in, 50 and in. I just love making it stick, making it roll. I love that short game. I don't know. As I get older, it's everything to me.
It's so hard.
Yes.
What club do you hit for a 65-yard shot?
Well, there's a lot of factors there.
Mm-hmm.
It depends on my lie, of course. It depends on how well protected the green is. It depends on how I got there. Did I just mishit something? There's so many factors, but stock would be a sand wedge. Mm-hmm. But I seldom swing full on my wedges.
Right.
I shorten them up. So I may hit an approach. I may hit a pitching wedge, depending if I want to check it. How about yourself?
It does depend. I have worked a lot on my bump and run is my favorite
chase.
But if I have to go over a bunker,
right,
then
or it's a close pin,
exactly.
Right.
Those are the things that, but it's all mental. I get afraid, right?
Yes.
I'm like, don't do it, and then I chunk it because you slow down in the downswing.
The
deceleration. But the thing, so I got a new 60-degree wedge.
Nice.
And I just love because it's just like whoop.
Yeah, it's so pretty.
And
when you clip that, you check it,
and it goes backspin.
Then it checks a little up. It is nice. Yeah,
I'm good at this.
It's such a rewarding sport. It's cruel too, though. When people try to tell, I should get into golf. I always talk them on it. I say, it's going to keep you up at night. It's expensive. It's time consuming. You're going to be away from your loved ones. And maybe in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, hey, you got to work if you want to do it. But I can't help it. I if I don't play for a few days, I get the shakes.
You think about it, right?
I do.
I'll be like,
yeah. Or replay a shot.
work it out.
Yeah, and your shoulders on your turn. Yeah. That's the beautiful thing. People are like, well, don't you get sick of playing the same course? You never have the same shot twice. Because the lie could be different. It's a different time of day, so the grass can be cut at different levels. There's wind. Did it rain? Is it wet? Where's the pin? How are the greens doing? It's never the same shot.
No. We have 3 courses at our club, which is fun.
Very nice.
And I think about this because there's this one par 5 where you hit uphill and you go downhill and you go up this steep hill.
Wow.
And the pin and the green's on the slope. And they move the pin around always meanly. They're very mean about this particular one. And so I was thinking about the other day, I'm like, I have played this hole hundreds of times.
Yeah.
And I still can't get the putt right. I'm like,
oh, the green.
Because it's always, and I'm like, maybe someday I'll remind myself that like you've been on this green like how many times and you just can't get it right.
There's a saying at my club, and it's don't read the green, memorize them.
Yes.
Yeah. And Tiger Woods got a lot of credit for that, for like really memorizing. Oh, I've had this before, and this is what I did. And the pros, they play different courses every week, and there's so much to that game.
Yeah, it's an endeavor.
Yeah, it is an endeavor. I mean, the great thing about it is that when you play, it's just you. You get to take all the credit. And the bad thing about it is that, when you don't play well, it's all on you. You can get some team involved every once in a while, and it's such a rewarding sport.
My husband and I play together. It's our thing. So we travel the world and play.
God, that's so cool.
And it's so much fun.
Of course it is.
And it's like our special thing. And so like you say, like being away from people, it's like that's our thing where we get away from people.
You get close.
Yeah.
You turn the cell phones off?
Cell phones off.
Good for you.
And a lot of time, what's interesting is we walk as much as we can.
Yeah, me too.
We don't even talk that much.
Interesting.
But it's like, but we're together and we celebrate each other's shots or like, I'm in this weird bunker. Like, what should I do this Friday? Like,
constant solving. And you're in nature, by the way. You're outside and you're
quiet and
and it's wonderful. Yeah, I try to walk too. In fact, that was one of the things about choosing a course when I moved. And I have to be able to walk the course. It's a 5-6 mile walk. And by the way, when you get to the 15-16 holes, there's a bit of fatigue that settles in, and that's part of the sport. And it's so wonderful. And the parallels to running a business. I mean, I like to say I've had this shot before. I've had the same problem before and how to solve it. But always running a business, being an entrepreneur, still presents problems that are very tough to solve sometimes.
Well, it's true. And like in what we've done, we've created a new category in our business. And so no one's really seen it before. And I have people on my team and they'll say to me, I don't know what to do. Like, I'm not experienced at this. Like, I feel really insecure about it. And then I go, yeah, me too. Cause like, I don't know either. We're making it up, but we can help each other and we can be better and we can use the experience. Like you handle customers and I handle our providers. And so what is the right answer together? And so it's actually really fun, but I remind them, I don't have the answers either.
Right.
I mean, I fake it pretty well maybe, sure. but we're doing it together and now we have a lot of answers now that we've been doing this for several years, and watching, because for me, part of what I love about my job as a CEO and have had forever is watching people evolve and get better and more confident. And it's like the best feeling in the world because you're helping people realize their potential. And especially when it's like, you're creating this with me. I'm the founder, but so are you and you and you. And they all have their contributions. And now I see like this whole different level of confidence and in them and it's like when they go to bed at night and think about that shot, right? They're thinking, gosh, I'm shaping an industry. That's pretty cool.
It's very rewarding, isn't it? Is your background with cyber or with insurance?
Well, I started my life in finance, like supply chain risk and financial analysis risk. And then I came into cybersecurity to do econometric valuation analysis of data. So what is data valued at and how do we help industry understand that? So I worked with the government. I always say, spoiler alert, we still don't know.
Oh, really?
but we're getting better because my view as a financially oriented person is until we can really help organizations understand this is what this data is in terms of the valuation. When we think about looking at valuations of companies on stock exchanges, it's like the S&P was always valued on what the assets of an organization were. Now it's all intangible assets.
Yeah, it is potential and
So we have to align to meet that because I think part of what our challenge globally is we don't really know what things are truly worth. And what's interesting about insurance is insurance helps sort of level set, this is what we're willing to pay for recovery, for this asset, for this company. So insurance is an interesting regulator of those types of elements.
Fascinating. So it can it can actually kind of govern its path. I've been in the tech industry all my life, and I get kind of these stock people who ask me about certain technologies, and I say, look, it's a great technology, but Wall Street's perception is something that I can't figure out. I mean, I would think, I like Costco, but that doesn't mean that you should buy the stock. The perception and how it's doing is very different, and how to quantify that. But that's very interesting, your point about insurance, how that kind of level sets.
And I think it will be an important arbiter. It certainly is now, and I have people who come to us all the time and say, well, I need to check these boxes. And I'm like, no, don't do that. Don't use an insurance application to guide your security posture. You should have the security posture. Protect, detect, respond, recover, right? Those are the elements. So that should still be a tenet of what it is you're doing, and insurance applications should check themselves off, right? But our view is attestations are obsolete, and really we should be leading with security and having insurance sit behind it, as opposed to the other way. Just have a lot of people approach it, and helping support organizations to help make those decisions. That's really where we try to bring value in those security acquisition conversations.
So the perfect candidate for you is?
Well, our first candidate is the security company. So we create a warranty solution for managed detection and response platforms. We create warranty solutions for managed services and the security stacks that they have in place. So we're trying to layer risk where we look at the first party, I crashed my car, I need to fix my car kind of concept.
Sure.
And I click on the link and we've bricked some machines, but we have defenses in place such that we've been able to lower the impact of that, and we try to warrant that piece of it so we can get people recovery really fast.
Wow.
And hopefully not trigger insurance policies. And that's what our insurance partners are hoping, because we have insurance too, but we have reduced cost insurance because we're really centering around that warranty solution, because that warranty solution requires what I call the cyber seatbelt, the basic controls that protect organizations.
Interesting. So help me understand, Kirsten. So you're saying it's a layer before insurance?
Yes.
Explain. Sorry.
So it's like we have a $500,000 warranty as an example. We have all
You say
different
warranty.
kind of like your refrigerator warranty or
Right.
your car warranty.
Yeah.
And it covers things like ransomware or a BEC, a business email compromise, and data loss or data compromise as a result of those incidents.
Wow.
And so what we center around for it to be a warranty is the recovery. So we help organizations get back to their original state. And if it's a severe enough incident, then we certainly have insurance that organizations can purchase.
Interesting.
And what we're trying to do is reduce some of the pressure on the insurance industry as well by really centering around key controls that we know are effective. To your point of, all the endpoint solutions that exist in this world.
Right.
But we know that certain basic controls are effective regardless. And that's why I call it the cyber seatbelt. Then you can have lane drift and back your car up in the parallel parking spot stuff and all those other things that are augmentative and important to enhancing security posture. But we know that basic controls are really, really important.
And so you offer this kind of warranty, and then there's a backup insurance. And is the application to get this first layer just similar to getting insurance?
No, it's actually purchased by the provider and embedded into the solution.
Fascinating.
So it's a benefit. So it really helps drive upsell motions, because you have, like, if there are many organizations with tiered products.
Yes.
So what we say is that if you want and feel like your customers should be in a particular product suite, then put the warranty in that product suite to really show the value, and that's a benefit to that customer. And then what we have are flat fee insurance products that customer can purchase on their own to then augment that particular warranty. And what's great is that we often save, depending on the type of sector the organization is in, we can save them 50, 60, 70%.
Amazing.
So that allows that organization to then effectively subsidize that purchase of the MDR solution. So we really try to help organizations spend more on security and less on insurance.
Wow.
And when we look at claims activity, when organizations have done what I call their diet and exercise plan, they have those controls, the severity of those incidents is indeed much, much lower.
Wow.
So we help kind of support both sides of the equation, the insurance side and the security provider side, because we can help drive home to their customers, you must finish rolling this out. You must implement MFA. You must do these things because you want to be insurable. Don't believe us, but if you're buying this, make use of it.
Wow. This is a very new concept to me. Is it common in the industry? I mean, I've been in MSP for 30 years. This is
new. This is the category we created. So when my team is like, we aren't really sure to answer this question, and I feel insecure because I should, I'm like, no, you shouldn't. We're literally charting uncharted territory.
How'd you come up with this?
Well, it was, so I was in security for 15 years before I started the company. And I always just looked at these gaps. And so when I thought to myself, well, if we can just let a little air out of that insurance balloon and create this layered risk model, if we can lay off 10% of that risk, and shifted into what the security products are doing, so we certify those products, then we should start to get better alignment in this trillion-dollar industry that is security.
Wow.
And you have all of these organizations where like, I don't know what to buy. And so they end up doing nothing. So, and particularly in the SME marketplace, right? So what we're trying to do is help organizations, well, at least I know that this is a certified product and I can have deductibles paid if I have to trigger a policy, or I can have some business interruption coverage. And so, well, that is a more valuable product to me. So I'm going to buy that versus that. And now I feel like I'm more secure in making that purchase and a purchasing decision.
Very interesting. And your target audience, is it managed service providers? Who's your target?
So we target both security companies and managed services.
That's right, we said that. Yeah. Yeah, of course, the security company themselves, they can put it into it. It's fascinating. It's a really cool approach. How long have you been around?
5.5 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what keeps you up at night?
It's a good question. Well, certainly the thing that we haven't anticipated, which is always every insurance person's fear, particularly in cyber, we call it the silent cyber risk, right? Which is like the sneaky thing that we hadn't considered in an exclusion or a coverage or whatever. But mostly it's making sure we're doing the right things for the organizations who are in our programs. And sometimes people get annoyed with us for a variety of reasons. And that's what really keeps me up at night, because I want to be a good partner. It matters to me more than anything. And so having unhappy people makes me unhappy. It bugs me probably more than it should.
Right. But as an entrepreneur, you have employees, you have customers, you have vendors, you have banks. It's I remember when I first started business, I had friends say, it must be nice not having a boss. I said, I have more bosses. Do not start a business thinking you won't have a boss, because everybody is your boss.
That's right.
Yeah. And what motivates you, Kirsten?
I think it's the same thing with the golf swing or any of those endeavors. It's perfecting a craft. Really figuring out the how to create a process around something that is different, that's mine. I was a turnaround CEO for several years before we started this company.
Wow.
And it's so rewarding to like have a blank sheet of paper and today have thousands of customers, and some of the biggest names in cybersecurity are customers. And so to look at this thing that we've created and to now go, now let's take it to the next level and really hone it, polish it, be strong in execution in a much different way. That's the next big phase, because we're turning a big corner in terms of the customer base we have and the value that we're bringing to organizations.
So given that motivation, how do you measure success?
Well, obviously growth is a key part of that.
Right.
But also, this is something that I learned years and years ago about the role of selling products, is ultimately we're about, in product sales, like with security professionals, we're helping to support them in their roles, to help them be better and more effective in their roles. So success for me is, are we helping organizations find more budget, execute better in their security posture, using something that everybody understands, as opposed to, I call it like the tinfoil blinky light things, right? Tinfoil hat. We actually can take a product and we have unified conversations between a CFO and a security practitioner now. They're making these decisions together. It's the thing we need most desperately in our industry. And so that for me is a big definition of success, because that natural growth will naturally follow.
So I started my business in the 90s as a managed service provider. I was working way too hard, Kirsten. I was working 14, 16-hour days. You're very familiar with this, I'm sure. And I was not paying attention to my health. And before you know it, I'm at the doctor's office at 340 pounds. Wow. Yeah. And she says to me, if you don't lose the weight, you're not going to see your daughter graduate. My daughter was born. So I'm driving home, punching the steering wheel, and I got myself here. I'm going to get myself out. Spent the next 6-7 months, lost 130 pounds. And, you can't look at it as a finishing line. You just got to change what you do. And people, I tell a story and they want a quick answer. What's your secret? And there's no secret. Discipline. That's how I lost it. I got focus. I got a routine. I wonder how discipline plays a role in your life.
Well, very much. I mean, some might say I'm slightly rigid. It's like it has to be on the calendar, or I won't talk to you, right? But it's the way that I help maintain that balance. And like you, it's like, so I have a trainer. I virtually train, which means that it's at 8 o'clock on a Wednesday, or it's 5 a.m. if I'm on the West Coast, and it's on the calendar, and I don't move it.
You don't miss it.
Right, and because it's just, and those things help me stay centered to maintain that discipline. And because we struggle in our world, like, in being an entrepreneur, being overwhelmed, where do I even start?
Right.
And no matter how disciplined one is, the other thing that I, especially having been an athlete my whole life, is recognizing that discipline doesn't necessarily mean that it's up to you to do a thing,
Right.
but also the discipline to say, I need a trainer to hold me accountable. I need that so that I don't have to think about it.
Yeah.
And so I think part of discipline is also understanding there are certain things that are not my superpower. How do I get support and be disciplined in that so that I just don't let them go because I feel like I have to do it all myself. And I think that's somewhat of an entrepreneur's curse is the sort of the interpretation that it's up to me to bring down this mountain. And it's like, no, it's up to you to figure out how to be most effective in doing that. And that's something I think that we can all learn from.
Yeah, know yourself. Have you always kind of been a disciplined person?
Yes.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
Your approach generally, Kirsten, is it art or science?
It's art most of the time.
Really? That's a surprising answer.
Yes. I sell most of the time.
Right, and that's all art. Yeah.
There's a little bit of science there, but because it's always moving, right? There's always, and for me, it's how to solve a problem, and there's a lot of art in solving problems.
Yeah, there sure is. Yeah, we can kind of use in golf. We'll go back to golf. I mean, what do you hit? You ask me what I hit at a certain length, and then I give you a bunch of art answers, right? Because there's no stock answer. And by the way, once I use science to kind of calculate that, then I go with my gut,
Right.
Because science is telling me an 8, but you know what? I'm hitting a 7. I feel it, and it's not the answer all the time, but it is sometimes. Thank you so much for your time. Anybody listening, how can they get in touch with you?
Cysurance.com.
Cysurance.
CYSURANCE.
Very cool. Make sure we put it in the show notes. Thank you so much for your time
Such
today.
a pleasure. I really enjoyed our discussion. Thank you.
Thank you for listening and or viewing Joey Pinz Discipline Conversations. Please share this episode with one or two of your friends who you think may benefit from the episode. Our website, www.joeypinz.com. There you'll find lots of resources and you could join our mailing list. Please follow us on all our social media, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Podcast information, the video version of our podcast is on YouTube. Please subscribe. Audio is on all major podcasting platforms. Please follow them. And if you like it, please consider giving 5-star rating. Would really appreciate that. Thank you again for listening or watching Joey Pinz Discipline Conversations.